I'm going to show you how to use the Turing Machine simulator software to create a simple Turing machine. The machine is going to take a tape of X's and Y's. It's going to turn all of the X's into Y's, turn all of the Y's into X's, and then halt. And one of the things I want to show you is how to use the testing feature so that you know exactly when your Turing machine is working. The testing feature lets you specify a set of sort of starting tapes and end tapes that you expect the machine to generate. And then you can run all the tests automatically, and it will tell you whether the machine sort of passes the test. So we want our machine to take X's and Y's and sort of flip them, so X's to Y's, Y's to X's. So we're going to set up a couple of tests to do that. So by clicking this Add Test button down here, we get a new test case, number 1. We can open this with the little dotted menu and click Edit. That's going to change the interface here so that we see a new tape with a new head. And here's our first starting case, which is just 2 X's. So this is the start tape, and what we want is when the machine finishes, we want the tape to look like 2 Y's. So we're going to flip this by clicking the Start Tape button and get the expected tape. And we're going to click here and say we want Y, Y. And we also expect the machine to be halted on the last character. So now we've saved our first test case. So we're going to click Save. And we can click Exit to get out of the editor. Let's add one more test case. So we're going to click Add Test and click Edit. And our test starting tape will be X, Y, Y, X. And we're going to click Start Tape to get to the expected tape. Our expected tape is Y, X, X, Y with the halt on the last character. And we're going to save that and then exit. Okay, so now we've got 2 tests. And if we try to run those tests now by clicking the Run Tests button, it will start running, and it says, oh, the rule table's not ready because we don't have any rules yet. So we're not going to try to run the tests yet. We're going to click anywhere else on the screen to get out of the testing. And now we can start putting together our Turing machine. So let's start by putting in one of the examples. So we're going to make, let's see, a new string, x, y, x, y. And our first rule that we're going to add to the machine is in state 0. If we read an X, write a Y, move to the right, and stay in state 0. Okay, let's add one more rule. In state 0, read a Y. And now here we would want to put X because we want to change Y's into X's. But let's just imagine that we sort of program it wrong and we'll say write Y. So this is just to show you how the testing feature works. So if we read a Y, we're going to write a Y and move to the right and stay in state 0. And then finally, if we read a blank, which is using the pound sign, then we're going to write a blank and move to the left and go to the halt state. Okay. So if we run our machine by clicking on this Run button in the top left corner, we should see the X's turn into Y's and the machine halt on the last character. Great. So we can click Restore here to go back. Now what happens if we try to run our tests? So we're going to click Test, and it shows that we still have our 2 testing cases set up. And we click Run Tests. And, oh, this one says it worked. Oh, why did this one work? I wasn't expecting that, but this one should work because remember, this test only had X's, so this is a case where the rules that we have do work for this, but for test case number 2, which did have the Y's, those Y's were not properly converted into X's. So this is a really nice illustration of why you would want to have these different test cases. So we could, for example, now click on this little wrong button and load the test, which will load up the tape that performed incorrectly into the Turing machine. And then we can click the Run button and we can watch it go. We can say, oh, look, the Y's didn't get turned into X's, so I better change this rule right here and change it to read Y, write X. And now I can hit Restore to restart the machine. I'll run this, and now it looks like it's doing the right thing. And we can confirm that by opening up the testing window, clicking Run Tests, and we'll see that both tests pass. So what I would recommend doing as you start working on the Turing Machine assignment is set up the tests first. Figure out what you expect the machine to do, set those up, and then start programming. And you'll be able to keep track of your progress by periodically running the test.